Good evening, my dear friends. Good evening, my dear subscribers. Good evening, my wonderful students. Good evening, dear world. Today, we're going to talk about a human inner state, their psyche, and we're going to talk about consciousness and the nature of psycho-emotional state of the soul of every person. Today we are going to do our best so that everything I share with you is understood by you, and also for every one of you to find the value in our today's program and apply it in your life. And so, dear friends, every one of you asks a question: who speaks within me, who makes decisions, how thoughts arise, how phrases emerge, how certain decisions create our reality, how our thoughts then, especially now, create our everyday life. To understand this, we need to open the door to the mysteries of cosmic consciousness, the consciousness which every one of us is. But many people cannot understand the meaning of this word, and many are far from understanding how the world is made, how the cosmos is designed, and who a human being is. But by discovering these mysteries and exploring this deep knowledge, a person realizes that everyone is part of the greatest design, plan, and state. And this is the family inner state, the family of cosmic reality. Yes, dear friends, every one of us is part of the cosmic family, cosmic source of manifested and unmanifested cosmos. Of course, the phrases that I'm now sharing contain the greatest knowledge, the knowledge of the nature of everything. By studying the cosmic reality, people, events, consciousness, mind, and soul of people, I can tell you with full responsibility that every person currently living in the past and who will live in the future is the state of the entire cosmos. Everyone is made of what cosmos is made of. But the reality is the word which cannot entirely correctly explain what a person sees around. The reality is created through our perception of life, of events, of objects, and our sense perception. And going deeper into this topic, I understand that the consciousness of human beings is the greatest plan of cosmic family, life, and reality. And realizing that every person is part of the entire cosmos and they are made of the same stuff that even the insects are made of. Every single life organism is connected to the cosmic consciousness that is around us. Realizing this and understanding that every person is part of the greatest cosmic plan and the person contains the entire cosmos within them with great possibilities. From this moment on, the development of every person begins. And this development begins with such inner questions. Who speaks within me? Who makes decisions within my head? And why? One question brings about many answers, both good and not so good. Many people want to understand who speaks within them. Why first they hear a positive answer to a question, followed by the negative later on. Who is within my head? Many ask. Now, dear friends, attention. Cosmic reality and the space-time continuum of cosmos, especially the one that is on the edge of the universe where we are with you right now, is designed in the following way. Simultaneously in it are manifested both negatively charged and positively charged particles. Each particle contains both positive and negative charge. What does it mean for us, human beings? It means that one situation, one question has many solutions. And because we are within this continuum, because we interact with the negative and positive charge, if we can say so, even though it is so, we are connected simultaneously to both positive and negative charges. But our inner choice, our upbringing, worldview, life perception, who we are, the social environment where we grew up, creates and enables us our own understanding and our inner choice. And it is this inner choice which allows us to make an independent choice. Many are dreaming to be free people, but every person is free inwardly. They have the right to choose either positive or negative, good or evil. And depending on experience, number of lives, social environment, what we have just mentioned, a person will make their independent choice. But they make a decision once they have heard certain phrases in their mind after thinking about a certain solution or decision. And why in one case they think one way, thinking about one question, and then later differently. So who guides, who prompts the phrases, the solutions and decisions within a person, who allows a person to foresee the future events, who helps to compare the past with the present life? So who is it and where is this one? Because there is the subtle dimension and subtle plane. We concurrently live not only on the physical plane and reality, but also the subtle plane. And there are beings invisible to your physical eyes. But they are perceivable by your psycho-emotional inner state, and the neurons of your brain, the impulses of your brain, are connected to this subtle plane. And although you cannot see the subtle plane with your eyes, you feel it. And there are levels in the subtle plane, and these levels contain vibrations, the fluctuations of vibration, which are determined by either negative or positive charge, which in its turn forms the state of the subtle plane. And in this subtle plane, which you call astral field, heavy astral plane, there are the so-called intelligent beings which do not have the dense physical state. They are created of vibration, subtle radiation of energy. They are intelligent. And it means they are also connected to the cosmic mind. They read and reproduce the state of cosmic mind. They are also part of the cosmic mind. But the cosmic mind, as we have said, which is on the edge of the universe, on the edge of space-time continuum, has in its composition the destructive state as well, which you call plus and minus. Why is it necessary to enable you to make choices, especially on this stage of your development? Because originally, at the beginning of development, the less developed forms of life emerge on the edge of the universes, as opposed to the center of the universe, and then they are aspired and driven towards this center, paradise. That's why the forms of life on the edge of space-time continuum reality have both positive and negative state, and of course, people interact with these cosmic subtle space-time beings. We can call them this way. They are called differently entities, etheric beings, midway creatures. No matter how you call them, but what is important is that what I'm sharing with you is confirmed by science. These are not my stories or dreams. The science has come to conclusion that there is subtle energy informational and manifested world on the physical plane, but real world on the subtle plane, which is also linked to the physical plane and connected with the brain of every human being. We can say that every human brain is connected to the cosmic reality, the subtle fields, the noosphere, which was mentioned by Vladimir Vernadsky, and he used to say there is the subtle plane, the noosphere, and every person is connected to it and reads information from there. And this subtle plane precedes the formation of the dense reality of our physical life. And realizing this, that the subtle plane is primary, a person realizes that they live within the subtle plane and interact with the beings of this plane. And the subtle plane contains both the state of the divine mind, the higher subtle reality and divine knowledge, and there is also the opposite, that which the higher mind is not. And what is it? Fear, selfishness, destruction, revenge, anger, envy, hatred. These states on the subtle plane are manifested in forms. They create forms, ugly, repulsive forms, which evoke states, such as fear. What form can evoke fear? The ugly, repulsive form. I want you to understand, my friends, every person who lives on earth interacts with both positive and negative, and they always have the right to choose to believe in the good and be a good person, or evil and be an evil person. Depending on this choice, the consciousness and the mind of every person will work on this or that vibration, on positive divine vibration, which allows the person to develop, expand their mind, consciousness through knowledge, new possibilities, practices, energy fields. This is the development and growth of the person. And a person is connected, even though connected is not exactly the right word, but it explains how it works. A person is connected to the higher state, higher consciousness. Their thoughts are positive, creative, choices are creative, and this person is always uplifted, cheerful. They always have the optimistic view on life. But when a person has the destructive state, and only spiritually undeveloped person can experience the destructive state, because they are unaware of a different state, the state when you can live as a free person with no fears of life or death, when you make right decisions. A low vibrational state of a person does not allow them to perceive it, and they are connected to the low plane where there are beings, etheric beings of the subtle plane who are real. They see thoughts of unkind people, they interact with such people. So malevolent beings interact with the same unkind people because these beings feed on the energy of evil people. Why evil people give this energy? The entities need only the energy of negative, because the good kind energy is destructive to these beings, and that's why they attach to unkind, evil people who are afraid. And these people always live in a state of anger, aggression, fear, worries, anxiety, despondency, resentment, and so on. These people always generate destructive energy. Even though they draw energy from the source, the energy on this planet and all other worlds in the cosmos comes from the source, the creator. But unkind people turn this good energy of light and joy, because Creator created this planet for you to enjoy it, to enjoy the life on this planet. All of your experiences of life, billions of years have passed, and many beings were involved to create the life on earth. Life was prepared for you to enjoy it, but after millions of years, we see what we see right now. We see that evil people receive this good energy, but they turn it into the destructive state. And there are forms of life, beings who you call ego, entities in the subtle plane, who attach to unkind people and begin to manipulate their minds. If a person at least lives a life believing in God and doing good deeds, but sometimes they are afraid and they interact with negative, evil energy, but they can still realize and become aware of their deeds and behavior. They can differentiate who is speaking in their head. But after taking the side of evil completely, when entities begin to attack their mind and consciousness, they become so aggressive they can no longer control their mind and who speaks in their mind. In this case, a person has taken the side of the matrix destructive state, where their mind is entrapped by the negative programs of these beings. These are the programs, and the person can no longer regain self-control. The person is completely under the influence of these beings, and the movie Nefarious demonstrates and explains this inner state of people. And I want to tell you, my friends, that this is a very difficult process when a person does not only lose self-control, but they no longer can control themselves, their life, when the meaning of life is lost for them. They can no longer live fully. They are half alive. They have the soul, but it no longer belongs to them. And such people usually do not want to live anymore. They are afraid to live, and usually they are afraid of their thoughts and even themselves. And it means that it's impossible to help such a person because this person has shifted into the low vibrational state, and they are in the grip of matrix system, egoic state. And in this life at least, they will no longer be able to come back to the healthy, normal, developed state. Many people are currently approaching this destructive state, the state of aggression, fear, anger, panic attacks. They realize that they need to do something urgently, and they begin the path of their development. They start reading books, doing practices, working on themselves and their thoughts. They become interested in this topic, and this way they begin to develop and grow. There are many people like this right now. Many people have brought their life to such point, but even in this case, many people still have the awareness that they can change the situation, they can improve it. If one realizes it, they can be helped, but if one rejects and condemns everything, it means that help is no longer possible because a person has lost their connection with the pure divine reality without even realizing it. A person has taken the side of negative programs and entities who have completely taken this person in their grip, the mind and soul of this person. And it's difficult to deal with such people, especially if they are the family members. They lose self-control and they are tormented and they torment others. Who speaks in their head? The system, the matrix that subdued and continues to do so, the humanity, and that decided to deprive humanity of the free choice, independent choice, the choice not of evil anger, but the choice of forgiveness, acceptance, love. Love is the foundation of life. Love is what enables us to be in God, to live with the higher mind, Christ, Father, Creator, no matter how you call them, the beings who created this planet, the local system and solar system. I want you to understand that every moment someone speaks in a person's mind, but there is the higher consciousness. Many people call it the voice of God, or there can also be the voice of dark entity. And depending on who we are, and here we should not play games. You always determine who you are in truth, and this determines what state in your head will be heard and what being will be speaking in your head. You will either be helped and guided, or you will be led astray and destroyed. It all depends on us. It depends on how inspired we are, how ready we are to do everything to make our aspirations our reality, so that in our head we would only hear the Creator, the higher mind, the voice of God, as many books refer to, and many books that develop human consciousness mention the voice of God, who everyone can hear if a person deserves this, if a person deserves the guidance of this voice, and to hear the advice and recommendation that will help us to make right decisions. And only in this case can our life be wonderful. And no matter how difficult the situation is on the planet right now, and it is difficult, always know there is within you the one who will give you the right advice. And if now people are watching this program, and I know that the audience of people is in front of their screens, if you hear this word addressed at you, it means that the voice of God is within you, who is always ready to help you, give you the right advice and recommendation. Always know there are no random encounters, there are no random people in your life. There are no random events in your life. There are no chances, no random things. Everything has a reason. And we create it with our own inner state, our true inner state. And this is the basis of who will speak in your head. If you are a kind person, then within you the voice of God will speak, and there is no need to search for it elsewhere. It is everywhere, yes, but first and foremost, it is inside of you. The Creator is within you, ready to help you in time of need. He wants to help you. He wants you to use this help. He wants you to be happy. And only a person, because of the lack of development or awareness, causes the destruction and suffering for themselves and the world around. And no matter that they do not realize it, they are still doing it. And Jesus used to say, "You will know them by their deeds," and this means that it is our actions. And how do we take actions? We make a choice, and who guides us towards a choice? Either God or the entity from destructive plane. Depending on who we interact with, we will hear this or that voice. So our actions determine our life, the state who we are. A kind person always shares with others, and first they think about another person because inwardly they feel another person, they feel love towards everyone. A kind person sees only good in others. Why? Science, psychology tells us that we see in other people what we have within. Do you understand, dear friends? Indeed, every one of us can only see that state in another person that is present within them, because you are an observer and you can see through the programs which are within you. If a program is absent within you, you are unable to see it in others. A kind person is filled with kindness, and by looking at others, they see this kindness everywhere, in everyone. The unkind person with evil programs, even in kind people will see this evil program, because the kindness program is absent, and that does not allow a person to perceive and deprives a person of the ability to think that way and perceive the reality that may be present in another person. So what conclusion have we come to? We have come to conclusion that within every one of us there is the inner state, the true or false, and depending on who a person is in truth, they will interact with this or that space-time continuum. A kind person interacts with the primary pure torsion field. Unkind person interacts with low vibrational, negatively charged energy field, which is around us and within us as well. Yes, my friends, every person has both plus and minus, good and evil, and the divine law of free will and free choice enables us to make the choice. We can either choose evil or good. Many people are now interacting with entities, living in this aggressive, destructive state. Many people have identified with this low vibrational field of anger, envy, greed, avarice, envy, that many people have become so, and they think that with all these vices they can protect themselves in this unkind world. Yes, dear friends, they live in the unkind world, but we live in the world of love, light, and kindness, even though we are surrounded by many negative people, but we are creating the society of conscious creative people, and we create such reality, the reality of good, love, development, accomplishments, future, wonderful life on earth, and no one can prevent us from doing it. And even if anything arises, we know how to walk away from low, destructive, egoic state, which is destructive. It is self-destructive. Yes, my friends, evil destroys itself, and evil destroys can only destroy. Look at some people who have everything, but they are unhappy because they are evil. They are self-destructive, even though they are not realizing how it is happening to them. In this life, yes, people may not realize it, but after leaving this plane and shifting to a different plane, they continue to destroy themselves in this low vibration. And this is the hardest thing that such people are faced with. People who have taken the side of negative, destructive state. The world is a wave. The world is filled with informational state made of waves, and we are made of these waves. We interact with these waves, and we reproduce simultaneously these waves. According to science, a human being and everything that surrounds us, everything that is alive, interacts with two currents of energy, centripetal, because we receive energy, and centrifugal when we reproduce, when we spread, an emanate state. Depending on who we are, we connect to this or that space, and the evil person will draw energy from evil space. We call it this way, even though it's not quite so, but it explains how it happens. So the person draws this destructive energy and radiates this energy, and then they radiate it and attract it again. They attract the same unkind people, events, and life itself. The kind person, on the contrary, also receives energy, but from the pure space, pure source, and by using this energy, this person continues to radiate the same impulse of energy to the world and people around, and this way receives even more pure energy and continues to radiate this pure energy, creating such life, good life. They bypass difficulties and troubles, and even if something is on their way, because evil is now in triumph, and it's very difficult for people to live right now, but the kindness and love of such people protects them with the so-called field emanation, the state which creates in this kind person the pure field of consciousness. And this field of consciousness shapes the everyday of such people. We have come to conclusion that many people have now embarked on the path of development and self-work. Many have realized it's time to roll up the sleeves and begin to study and unlocking these mysteries that are within them, not something that is not related to a human being, but what actually creates our events of life. Many people started this self-work and self-development. About 10 years ago, I noticed the following. There were some communities, closed communities, exploring and studying many different methods, techniques. Some communities with some organizations which studied these secrets, the methods of sacred geometry, what unlocks the possibilities for a person. And these communities had the narrow direction of work, and they had such pride. They only wanted to be superior in society. They wanted to be above others, to humiliate others, and the years have passed, but nothing good happened in the life of such communities, because originally their intention was wrong. And I tell you that development is necessary, but not for you to become superior, no, for you as the children of God Himself to learn how to create your life and not to be superior, not to develop pride, but you do it to not only improve your own life, but the lives of other people, other countries, and the life of the conscious humanity. Why conscious? Because it's impossible to help evil-minded community of people or society or a person. It's impossible because this society will not correspond to the high vibration of creation. Only potentially kind and good people can be helped. These people can expand their mind and master methods, techniques, and direct them at self-development and the development of the world. And I teach people with this purpose not to become superior, not to become arrogant, but by unlocking these possibilities and discovering these mysteries within oneself, a person can direct them at their own life and prosperity of their city, country. Countries have been divided by people and not people, but we share one planet. Everywhere around us there is one planet, and our task is to do our everything, our best, to help the planet to prosper. Evil people will destroy themselves. This is their path and choice, and we need to respect even such choice. Yes, they have chosen this path, but people who have chosen light, kindness, and development of divine spirit within them, they need to know how to create their life. Your life is in your own hands. No one can ever live your own life, even if they wanted to. It's impossible because your life is determined by your inner state, if you want it. But you can allow the destructive ego entities to be in charge of your life, of your mind. How do they do it? They draw from your subconscious, your unconscious field, the thought forms, they pull them, and then they cause you to think something negative. And in the meantime, while you are radiating this energy centrifugally, they feed on this energy, becoming stronger. And people, in the meantime, are becoming weak and unhealthy, and they can even die and continue suffering. This is how it is in the world right now. If you want to always have the right decisions that come to you, to your mind, you need to develop and work on yourself. And given this, on 25th of October at 6 p.m. Moldovan time, we are going to meet with you. This meeting is free. I would not even call it a meeting. This is the opportunity to interact with the people who are our subscribers. Yes, dear friends, only our subscribers can join this meeting, and you need to register for it. The work will be translated to 6 languages of the world: Spanish, Lithuanian, English, 6 languages, German. We have our interpreters who are my students, and there are many students who live in different countries of the world, and they do this work, translating simultaneously. Our courses are also translated into these 6 languages. Registration is necessary to join this meeting. The information can be found in the chat and in our social networks. Knock on the door and the door will be open and you will find everything you're looking for. I'm ready for your questions. They are always very interesting, and especially today, because this topic concerns every person and many want to learn more. We begin our cycle of questions, but before we begin answering the questions of our audience, I would like to ask Natalia Vladimirovna to comment on the following. Very often we were explaining what spiritual development is, what God is, because many people may perceive this as the session of a spiritual prophet or just master, but from the modern perspective, who is God and how to understand it correctly. You know, dear friends, such questions and such thoughts may arise only in those people who lack information, who lack scientific knowledge and the evidence of everything that I am sharing with you. People lack knowledge, but they know that there are prophets and there are many sects, many religious communities that also share something that may be similar to what I'm saying today, but many communities just take advantage of this knowledge. They have just a fraction of some knowledge and then they share it with you. And when I begin to speak, because of the lack of information, because of the lack of knowledge to draw on, that they could use to make the right conclusions. Dear friends, who is the creator, the higher mind, the divine hierarchy, Atlanteans, Lemurians, Muslims, Jews? Overall, you need to have the knowledge about everything, the history of the planet, the structure of the cosmic hierarchy, and to have the understanding of alien forms of life, to understand who the gods are who were here on the planet long time ago, and to know who a human being is, when and how humans were created, how 6 root races were created, and how presently the 9th race is being formed, and how many races there will be on the planet, and how inside the human the thoughts arise, and how these thoughts manifest. You need to know it all, and it does not require you to be a religious person. And I'm not a religious figure either. I am a psychologist, a scientist. I study the nature of the higher mind, the science of the nature of God, and I have come to the conclusion that a human being is the natural resource of God, and it means by knowing the nature of God, we first need to know the nature of human beings, and that's what I am learning, what I am studying, your nature, the physiological organisms, the work of your organs, the neurons of the brain, your psyche, and the nature of your soul. But I do not represent any religious organizations. I am a Christian. Yes, I was baptized some time ago by my parents, and I have faith in Christ, and not only Him. I know how all religions of the world were formed, and what knowledge Egyptians and Atlanteans possessed, and who God thought was, who Hermes was. I have the knowledge of all of it, and this knowledge allows me to have the right understanding. Of course, it's good that I have this knowledge, but it is not sufficient because if only I know it, it's not enough. But I want ordinary people to know it too. I want ordinary people to know the structure of life, how civilizations evolved, and what is happening on the planet, what humanity needs to prepare for, and how to manage their life and themselves. And when you study all of these processes, you realize that the life and everything around us is created by the higher mind. I am not a religious figure. I am a scientist with a degree. I'm Doctor of Philosophy, and I study the nature of the higher mind and the nature of humanity, human beings. I unlock the resources in people which the Creator has endowed them with. So do not ascribe any religious activities to me. Yes, I often share with you all these things and concepts in a simple way, in a simple language, because I realize that without knowledge, without understanding, people will remain undeveloped. But my purpose is that you know your own nature, and when you know it, and when you unlock it in yourself, you will never be angry or evil. You will never do anything that is destructive. You will do only creative things, things that make this world better. And tell me, please, under such circumstances, and when people unlock their true nature, their potential and possibilities, when they live among the same people, and when you in unity live together, do you think that we will be happy? Will we have any catastrophes and destruction? No. There will be the world, manifested world, created by you. The Creator created for you a happy life here on earth, but people did everything to turn it into misery, and people are proud that they can hurt others or harm others. But why? If everyone could be happy, I understand that currently such philosophy may not be shared by some people or countries, but so what if not? I did not create this philosophy, I did not come up with it, and it is not me at all. It is the Creator who speaks through me and other people, and perhaps He is speaking through you in your thoughts, in your souls. And if what I am telling you resonates within you, the Creator is speaking to you, and if not, then your choice was different. Some time ago, many years ago, I just remembered now, it was about 30 years ago, I met with one lady who was very devout lady. She did not have children and she dedicated her life to God. She sang in the church and was a very devout and faithful to God woman. And I met with her once and I asked her, please tell me, how do you imagine God? Who is He for you? And she looked at me and said, in the sky there is an old man, and this old man sees everything and knows everything, and he lives there beyond the clouds. And she had such strong faith in it that if I told her that God is not an old man, even though he can be an old man too, that God is the higher mind energy that creates high technology, possibilities, and the energy that creates forms with the potential of mind. And I just looked at her and smiled at her and realized this was her perception of God. Yes, dear friends, humanity, and as I said, the forms of life that begin their evolution here on Earth are those forms of life, undeveloped forms who do not know anything about the higher mind, the creator, and about the force of gravity and anti-gravity, and who creates it. And it is the creator who creates these fields. And I observe the development of science, and in my work, the work that I carry out is science, the methods and practices which manage energies and the human being, their mind and consciousness. It is the science. And I see that the scientists with time write scientific papers and write dissertations based on these topics, and I'm glad that the science is developing and discovers the knowledge that unlocks the nature of a human being. Yes, a lot is hidden from humanity at the moment. A lot is hidden. Do you think that there is no technology, high technology on Earth? There is technology whereby you will not need the electricity in the form that you use it today. There is this technology, and thanks to this technology, within a very short period of time, the life can be improved on the planet. But the problem is there is no one to implement it with. While people are still aggressive and destructive inwardly, if you give them this technology, it means everything will be destroyed. Because when technology ends up in the hands of people, it is directed at destruction instead of creation. So, dear friends, indeed, the humanity, many people are not ready for a creative life currently now. And why? It is their choice. They think that an evil person is a powerful person, but it is deception. A strong person is only a kind, good person, but people do not understand it. They are so entrapped by the matrix that to break free out of it is nearly impossible. The majority of people have taken the side of evil, but the minority that remained rolled up their sleeves and are in the search of knowledge. They want to survive and to go through this difficult time. They want to create a new world, and we, together with our students, we are creating a new society, the new world of the future. And I can see how my students are taken care of and protected by higher forms of life. And who are they? From other planets, more evolved planets, the planets that have reached a high spiritual level of development. And they do possess high technologies and possibilities, and they can do absolutely anything. You are now afraid of the meteorite that is coming, but dear friends, on the planet there are such beings with such technologies that to change the trajectory of a meteorite is very easy for them. It's very easy. But not all people can understand it. Many people like living in fear. Remember 1993. a very serious cosmic body, asteroid, has entered the atmosphere of the planet. If it touched the surface of the Earth, the solid surface of the Earth, we would not be here. But next to this celestial body, the light appeared, very bright light, and for some reason the meteorite changed its trajectory and flew away. Based on all laws of physics, it is impossible. There is the gravitational pull of the planet, and the celestial body was flying towards the planet, but then it deviated and flew away. So who was involved in this? High spiritual beings. They are always observing this process, and they guide humanity. Now the wicked run the show, but there are spiritual beings who serve the higher mind and who also possess high technologies, and now they are at war with the alien forms of life, destructive forms who have taken the earth in their control. But I know that the higher spiritual beings will triumph. Light always triumphs over darkness. These are the laws of the higher mind, and this will be so, because on this earth there are people who are spiritual personalities, spiritual teachers, and they do everything for the light to defeat the darkness. I mean the goodness, the kindness, the mercy, love, the highest state, the desire to live, to develop others and yourself. And now I would like to come back to the topic of the program, who speaks in the head, and I would like to summarize the questions now, because there are many questions and we can categorize them. Does spiritual development means we should always be in control? Because if I do something wrong, if I make a mistake, I will have a boomerang back. So these are the questions that people ask. Dear friends, yes, you need to learn how to have your self-control. And I can agree that if now on the planet the rulers of the countries were taking care of your development, it would be easier for you. So yes, during some time it's necessary to control yourself, and by controlling yourself you see right away the positive changes in your life. And from my own practice I can tell you, based on many years of working with people, I can see that people begin to enjoy this. They began controlling their thoughts, and then in such a way they have created the field of consciousness around themselves. They enjoy living in this field, and they get used to this creative field of consciousness, to live in joy, to be optimistic when thoughts manifest quickly, and you know how to shape reality, how to change things, and people do enjoy it, and they no longer want to come back to the past. They say, no, we don't want to come back, we don't want to return, we don't want to go backwards. And students share with me that in 2-3 years of their learning path, they may make a little mistake, but they say, no, I do not want to come back. I want to regain the state that I have cultivated. Please help me. how I can do it. Yes, so when a person has made a mistake, they can compare how it was before and how it is now. They enjoy being a happy person and they enjoy managing their life events. They enjoy being healthy. They love it. They enjoy living in their new reality created by themselves. Moreover, my friends, one is connected with another. When you begin your path of spiritual development, you begin to unlock the super abilities within you. But they are not super abilities, these are natural abilities, the new senses with which you perceive reality, claircognizance, clairvoyance, clairaudience, intuition, and based on this vibration you create your life. You can foresee the future, you can help another person, you can analyze yourself correctly, making the conclusions, and you can take a glimpse into the future, what can happen if you make this or that choice. So life becomes different. It's easier for you to live. Your consciousness expands, and of course, you enjoy it. And at the beginning of your path of growth and development, you need this control because the subtle plane is fighting for you. You were the food for the dark entities before, and because you had bad thoughts. And then, when you decide to live differently, to live a good life, they are doing everything to impose bad thoughts on you, to distract you, and do everything so that you come back to them instead of living with a higher mind. So yes, in the very beginning it's not easy, and the students of the initial level who are watching me now can confirm my words, but in 2-3 months, and when you complete the first level, the new time unfolds for you and you begin to think differently and think and live differently. You celebrate your first victories and you have your first right understanding of life and shaping your reality. And who would not like it? Of course, people like it. Only a silly person would reject it. But a developed person would say, no, I want it, of course. And I want to continue studying. And what does studying mean? It does not mean you go to school and solve some tasks. Studying means you reveal within yourself your super state, and this is the ability to explain everything, the highest that creates everything around you, what you observe around yourself, and everything that is happening. Development is not your complexes, it's the contrary, it's getting rid of complexes, of fears, of attacks, anxieties in life, and so on. This is what it is. It is far from any sect or some rigidness where you have to wear this or that. Creator loves you the way you are. He does not mind if you wear this hat or not. For him, it's important that you do not catch a cold, and to him it does not matter whether you enter the temple barefoot or with shoes. For him, it is important in what state you enter the temple, either in a state of fear or a state of gratitude. And people just come up with ideas. I suggest that you watch the Forbidden movie in India, the movie PK, and it emphasizes what is really necessary and what God wants. And God is the higher mind, but how this word has been trampled and What happened to the Word of God? These sects and religions that are not there to help you develop, but to manipulate you and to scare you. Development never scares anyone. Even if you make a mistake and it happens on your path, even among my students, and it's part of life, we do not live in a perfect world. And people are not perfect either, and they can make mistakes. But perhaps these mistakes are necessary to understand that this choice was wrong and you should not have made it. So next time you will not make this choice. Instead, you will make the right choice. And that's why mistakes are part of life and they are necessary as lessons for you. So development is not some rigidness and is not the fears or scaring or creating some idols or rigid rules that contradict everything. No, my friends, it is freedom, fearlessness, love, knowledge. It is the ability to answer any of your questions and to understand the meaning of everything. That is what it means. The aliens are coming. When are they coming? On schedule or not? Dear friends, if you knew the truth, you would just laugh. And you would say, what jokes they are playing with us. This is what you would say, but you do not know it, and I cannot tell you this now. The only thing I can say, never be afraid of anything, even if you see something. It is all a play. My friends, the truth is only your understanding and your truth, your inner truth, the knowledge which reveals for you the right understanding of everything, including this element in your life too. Never be afraid of anything. A spiritual person is never afraid of anything. A spiritual person only thinks good thoughts about everything and everyone, accepting and forgiving everyone and everything. By the way, there are two books written by Natalia Vladimirovna, and the title of this book is The True Knowledge. We have a question from Andrei from Chisinau. I have seen the short video, and you said that in the future we will need good books. So what kind of books will we need in the future? My dear friends, we have a website and there is a lot of information about us on the internet and on social media. On the website you will find the section which recommends the books, good books, reliable sources, and also documentaries. You're welcome to visit the website and look up this information. If I mention only one book without mentioning another, it would not be right. Each book is valuable for humanity, including Bible. The Bible also has the truth, but a lot of it is hidden and there is something which is not really truthful, but manipulates the minds of people. Venera from France is asking, a person who has an entity speaking in their mind, is it possible to complete the initial level of development to correspond to everything and get rid of this voice and instead hear the voice of God? It all depends on what is the inner state of the person. If a person has the desire to reach it, to get rid of this entity, then it is possible. But if it is you who is forcing a person and asking them to do it, then no. If they reject it, then how can you help this person? They tell you, stop helping me, I do not want it, I want to suffer. So, dear friends, when you come to me to study, you know what state you come in, and especially lately, it has never happened before. For the 15 years of my work with people, now people come in a very difficult inner state, and people with determination and desire to do everything and who have understanding of the knowledge I share, they manage to get rid of these entities, they make efforts, and they have good results. And we thank them and God. The next question, practical question, Daniela from Bulgaria is asking, when you work and you're surrounded by unkind colleagues, how to save yourself and your inner state? They are psychologically manipulating you. What is best to be done? In this case, there are two options. You either work in sublimation with this space and they will leave, or it is a sign that a good community, good people, and good job are waiting for you. And what is also important, good income. So perhaps the situation is telling you this. Oksana from Dnipro is asking, tell me please, where is the memory and who is controlling memory? Why sometimes we remember everything and some moments just disappear and we forget it? The memory is everywhere in each of your cells, in your DNA, and it is formed and accumulated in your subconscious mind. The subconscious is based in the first energy center. The first energy center, through all other 6 centers, also interacts and is connected with memory. Your brain, the neurons of your brain, reproduce memory. Why? Sometimes people remember one thing and forget the other. In your mind, in your subconscious, there are some shelves, and the meaningless information we just fixate, but it just goes to the back. All information is registered, but the information with a more powerful informational impulse will be at the front, and you can access it easily. The information which is less meaningful to you is also recorded, but it is stored a bit deeper. And under certain circumstances, it can come up because you may encounter a similar situation that may trigger it, and so this memory comes to the surface. But overall, the memory is everywhere. But your memory is processed by the mind and your subconscious mind and the consciousness in which you operate. And it also depends on how expanded your consciousness is. And in my opinion, as a scientist, as a teacher, a person now needs to have access to any cells of memory, and it is possible through the altered state of consciousness or deep relaxation. And it is not necessary to keep everything in memory. Instead, you need to learn how to access any cell of the information of memory, and there are many different cells, informational cells, and to have the ability to enter any of these cells is the mastery of life, one of the aspects of the mastery of life. And the next question, I suppose we will finish our today's program with this question. It is quite late. Olga is asking, why is life of people who are very kind and goodwilling is filled with suffering? Yes, my dear Olga. But How would you be able to appreciate a good life? How can you appreciate good without knowing bad? And how can you appreciate devotion and loyalty if you are never betrayed? And of course, when betrayed, you feel suffering. I always understand it from the perspective of its meaning for a person. Suffering has a meaning and has a reason, and it is necessary for a certain period of time until a person realizes life and everything that is happening. Through suffering, you begin to appreciate the kindness, the goodness, and happiness that you have in your life. As a kind person, as a good-willing person, you will certainly receive all the goodness that you have once shared with people. These are the laws of the higher mind of life. The Creator is identical with His creations, and if you create the goodness on this planet, even though you had to endure suffering, then there will be time when you will be bathing in the goodness and kindness that you give to other people. Be kind, be pure, be children. Open, pure children. Be the way you are. Be as the Creator, God, the higher mind, made you. Dear friends, our program has come to an end. I would like to remind you that on the 25th of October, the registration is in progress now. We are meeting with you at 6 p.m. Moldovan time, and I suppose we will work together for 2 hours. I will be answering your questions and working energetically with you. And of course, I will uncover the knowledge for you that I can share with all of you who will be present. But I want you to understand, dear friends, the path of learning that I opened for you is the highest science. It's not religion, it's the knowledge which explains religion, which uncovers for you the understanding why religion was created and what is right or wrong in it. This is the science. And that is why, please forgive me, but not everyone can be accepted to study. Therefore, everyone undergoes an interview prior to being accepted on a course, and you are invited to register for the open meeting, but when it comes to studying, you have to go through the interview, and even if we deny this time, we give recommendations, we highlight and point what is in person that needs to be changed so that a person will be accepted on this course and learning. I wish you happiness, love, warmth and light in your souls and hearts. Love each other and forgive your haters, and do everything for the world to overcome the difficulties, to live and to flourish, and you to be the guides and those who will always help. Have a good evening, have a good life, and good, sweet dreams. Enjoy your tomorrow and everything in eternity. Thank you, dear friends, and see you very soon. Goodbye.